Nigerian Minerals and Mining Bill. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on the 11th of July, 2019. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the bill seeks to repeal the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007 and establish the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Commission to ensure fair competition in the mining sector and introduce innovative services and practices in accordance with international best practices, and also to ensure efficient management, planning, coordination, allocation, registration, monitoring, and use of scarce national resources in the mining sector. The purpose of promoting and safeguarding national interests, at the same time, the security of the mining sector, and again, promote the implementation of the national minerals policy by providing different reforms that will attract new investors, collaborate with a wide network of partners, stakeholders to build an attractive mining ecosystem. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you know, and we all know that the challenges we are facing as a nation in terms of the minerals and the mining industry in Nigeria. And having this commission, Mr. Speaker, the commission will have functions that will be able to receive and consider applications of minerals titles, because as it is, we don't even know the minerals titles that we have in this country. We just have a small cadastral that will register, and at the end of the day, you find big international firms coming to extort Nigerians after paying a small fine and for a small title. But at the end of the day, what they extract out of this country is more than what you can imagine. So the commission will be in charge to see that whatsoever title that has been put in place for every mining cadastral, that Nigeria gets the full benefit out of it. And by so doing, we'll have a registry book that we will know who did what at what particular point in time. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this will organize and participate in promotion activities of our mineral resources in the country, such as exhibitions, conferences, so that the world will know that Nigeria is not just about the oil, but we have other mineral resources that can really take Nigeria and give us the necessary resources that we all need as a country. And at the same time, the commission, the functions of it, will facilitate the development of indigenous technical and professional manpower required in the mineral resources sector, because a lot of our people and a lot of our engineers in this sector have not yet been utilized, and a lot of them are being underutilized. And you see, because of not using the latest trend, you see that our boys go into the local form of mining, and we have casualties almost on a daily basis that the local mining usually fall on them and we lose lives. And with this, the commission will do a lot to bring in the best practices that is required in the mining sector. Because of the powers, if we give and we have the commission, the powers of the commission at the same time, will supervise all the activities, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, and will make sure that each and every geopolitical zone is represented in this very commission. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, Nigeria's ambition is to create a globally competitive sector capable of contributing to wealth creation, providing jobs, and advancing our social and human security. And this can be achieved by focusing on using these mining assets to drive domestic industrialization initially, and then migrate to winning global markets. Mr. Speaker, you know, and we all know how some of these mining resources usually have booms, and people from other countries come in, extort our people, and go. We know how all those things have happened. But with this, with the powers given to the commission, we will be so sure that Nigeria get what it requires. My respected colleagues, this bill essentially will provide a strategy through a value chain-based growth plan by building a competitive mining value chain in terms of quality and cost versus global peers, and providing the enabling environment for the government and the private sector to share the responsibility of investing in key drivers of success, such as availability of access to public. And again, not only that, the data that we are going to have as a country to really put us on top as a nation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, in view of the federal government efforts to diversify Nigeria's economy, the need to repeal the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007, establish the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Commission cannot be overemphasized. I therefore call on my honorable colleagues to support that the bill be read the second time and referred to the relevant committee of the House for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move, and I believe with your support as a House, this bill to establish the Mining Minerals Commission will have a say, and Nigerians will be proud that we are not just looking at oil, we are looking at how to diversify to ensure that Nigeria is what it is. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Like Honorable Kuye, who spoke against the bill, recognized the importance of the bill and the contents. But he also raises a very, very good point. If it's a duplication, which I don't know that it is, I don't, because I haven't looked at the two. If it's a duplication, then we might run into one or two. I'll give you, okay, you do have a right of reply before I close. Go ahead.
The commission will be in charge of all the activities to supervise who gets what and what comes to who at what particular point. The commission will still be under the Ministry of Solid Minerals. So this will really give Nigeria a headway in the sense that we are being extorted. Especially, we visited the cadastral officer, and we know, especially some of us that came from the mining states, we know what is happening there, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. This commission will really help Nigeria in terms of supervision, in terms of knowing who is doing what at what particular point. Because the Act has given the cadastral and the other offices a little power, but the commission will give a very big window to make sure that who gets what at the right time, and especially with how we have been extorted as a country.
What would be the function of the ministry?
The commission will still be under the ministry, Mr. Speaker. Just like we have other commissions under other ministries. Yeah. All the power that we have. So I will still solicit that, just like you suggested, Mr. Speaker, that Tuesday we have the two bills so that everybody deliberate and we have a vote. We are so submit, Mr. Speaker. People of Jos South, Jos East, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise in the continuation of the debate of this great bill, a bill for an act to repeal.
Honorable Bagos, you can just take 2 minutes because you actually debated that bill last time, and I don't think you're lucky. Your main protagonist is not here today. Honorable Kuye is not here. So just very quickly, before he walks in, we'll do your last 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, and thank you for protecting me, Mr. Speaker. After the debate last week, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we went back to the archives, checked the reason for his debate against the bill, and the bill actually has been gazetted and sent to all honorable members on the 10th of July 2019, before it was listed for first reading on the 11th of July. And Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you will recall and know that according to our rule books, that if a bill is being repealed members are entitled to have the journal that has been gazetted, which has been done since July. And this is not an amendment, it's a repeal. If it were an amendment, we could have brought the two bills together. But because this is a repeal which has already been sent to each and every member since July, 10th of July, Mr. Speaker. So I urge and I solicit the support of honorable members to support this bill to pass for second reading. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Does anybody want to speak against? You're speaking against. Okay. Question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Bill referred to the Committee on Solid Minerals.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to repeal the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007 and establish the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Commission and for related matters. Second reading.